Well, this is David once again of the Sports Animals, and when we're coming here from my place once again,
I'm Justin. Welcome back.
and we're going to start things off with some golf. Yesterday, Phil Mickelson wound up winning his fifth overall major and his first British Open of his great career, as he wound up making a big comeback to win yesterday. As Lee Westwood was the winner going into Sunday, and Phil came back from 5 strokes down to shoot a 66 for the day to wind up winning his fifth championship. And it's pretty amazing for a guy who's like 43 years old, and he's already also played well in the Masters, I believe it was, and almost wound up winning that. It was either Masters or U.S. Open, one of those two, and almost wound up winning that one. So this guy is playing great golf at an age where most guys are kind of starting to slow down a little bit. So he was the big story for yesterday, and of course also Tiger once again played bad golf on a Sunday, and it seems like he's been doing that a lot on Saturdays and Sundays, playing bad golf, and it's once again left wondering when is he going to ever win another major. This guy's been gone 4 years now, over 4 years, I should say, without winning a major. And at this point, I don't think he's going to even get close to touching Jack with 18. He just has to get to the point where he can put two days in a row of great golf together and find a way just to win one more major. But my biggest problem is, and if you saw it, is that he was the favorite, Tiger that is, to win this British Open. Why is he the favorite to win a major? The whole field should be favored to win before he is. Adam Scott, the guy who won the Masters, the last major. I think it was that was the last major they played. But Adam Scott won the last one. You have, of course, Phil.
Could be his history there. Could be any number of things. But it's obvious he's not the same golfer since the incident where he allegedly cheated on his wife and had the divorce and basically became a unpopular celebrity or whatever you want to call it. Since his skeletons came out of the closet, he's just not been the same.
He hasn't, but I think that he's even more than that at this point in time, because he's finally gotten his life straightened out for the most part since that incident. So I think that it's more of a possibly a declining in age. Maybe he's losing a little bit. I mean, he is 37 years old now, and a lot of it, I think, more than anything, possibly is just mental. It's just that he doesn't have that same confidence anymore that he once did. That he was where he was invincible, and he felt like he could just beat anybody. And I think maybe even the biggest part of all of it, even more than the mental aspect, is maybe it's just the competition. The competition is better now than it's ever been in the history of golf.
Competition, confidence, age, those can all three be legitimate factors contributing to Tiger's. I don't think we call it downfall at this point, but he's not what he once was. He's not in his prime anymore. Of course, he is 37 or 38. He's getting older. Age maybe less in golf than other sports, but and I know in most sports 37, 38 is old. I would think not so in golf so much, but I mean you're going to slow down a little. That's just the hands of time. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Well, I personally am really glad that Phil was able to win this British Open, because this guy, I mean, you never hear anything about him off the golf course of getting in trouble. I mean, he's a stand-up guy, good family guy, and so I'm glad to see that Goff has still a great guy like that still playing, and the way he's going right now, he might could get it. He might have more majors left in him. So we just got to wait and see how it goes. But I like Phil's chances of winning more majors. Uh, well, we're going to go from that there to over on to baseball. Whereas, of course, the biggest story of today, probably in all sports, I should say, is Ryan Braun. What a surprise! Finally getting caught for taking HGH, and he's going to be suspended for the rest of the 65 games of the season, and he's not even going to appeal it.
That shows right there he's guilty. I think part of it too is the way the Players Association. I don't know if they decided not to fight it or what, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with A-Rod and the 20 others. I guess they've all appealed it, other than Braun, because he's the only one that's come out with it. But from my understanding, if a player gets caught, tested positive for steroids, or suspended, they're notified in private of their suspension, and then they have the right to appeal it. It's not made public, or not supposed to be made public, until it's resolved and they actually start serving the suspension. I think in the case of Manny Ramirez, he was actually suspended a couple months before, but the appeals and all that. So we never knew about it till he actually started serving the suspension. The same thing here. Now, 65 games, I was surprised to hear that. I was thinking 50 games or 100 games or 150. I don't know if it wouldn't have surprised me, though, in this case, the severity of it, with the Players Union and everything. If I wouldn't have been surprised if Major League Baseball had sat down with the Players Union before announcing the suspension, and they'd come up with this agreement between them.
Well, this is pretty much a long waiting process with Braun, and he finally deserves everything that he is getting right now. Because in my opinion, he should have gotten this suspension last year. Well, he did get it, but he didn't stick because he appealed and he won that case. And because they said that the guy that it was contaminated the sample from the guy who sent the results off. Hey, what about that guy right now? That guy's looking like he's smelling like a rose coming out of this, and that guy's got all the credibility in the world. And he was telling the truth the whole time, and obviously that Braun was guilty last year, and it was of taking steroids, and should have lost that suspension, and should have got so it should have started last year. So this guy, I can't stand him, and I'm glad that he finally, even though I think it's a slap on the wrist, what he got, 65 games, and unfortunately it's not carrying over to next year like it should, but at least he did get something, and so I guess I can live with that.
I'm having flashbacks now to the book about how baseball got big, the Jose Canseco book. And, of course, we all thought he was full of hot air. We all thought he was just making up a bunch of stuff. But as it turns out, and this is scary, Jose Canseco was telling the truth.
Yeah. Well,
I never thought any of us would be saying that. No. Considered he's got a bad image, bad reputation in baseball. He was telling the truth.
Yeah, he was. And that is sad, like you said, when somebody like with not much credibility at all can come out and make all kinds of money as far as writing books, exposing a lot of these guys. And like you see, he's actually told the truth on a lot of these players.
I believe he's been 100% right, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least 98, 99. He's been
close to.
He may be off on one or two, but he's been fairly accurate.
But what I tell you, what's really what I think is really funny, and that is the Yankees and with Alex Rodriguez, because a lot of conspiracy people are now. You know me, I'm usually not that big a conspiracy theorist person, but a lot of those kind of people are coming out right now and saying, well, is Alex Rodriguez really got this quad grade 1 strain, or is it that the Yankees are just pretty much paying him to stay away because they just do not want to deal with this drama by going ahead and putting him out there right now because he's supposed to have already been able to be in the lineup. I think today he would have been cleared to be in the lineup. If
his rehab assignment is only, according to Major League Baseball rules, supposed to be 20 games. And the 20th game, he sat out the 20th game with supposedly the quad injury. Now, I think it's a legit injury. He's had some setbacks. He's like 38, 39 years old. I think it's legit. Now, could it be from the steroids? Who knows? And to me, I'm sure it didn't contribute. Here's the thing, though. As bad as the Yankees want this drama to go away, if you look at their shortstops, or not their shortstops, but their third baseman, they've hit, I believe, about a week ago, they had 4 home runs combined. And Cubs pitchers had hit 4 home runs combined. I hadn't seen averages. I would be interested to see who had the better batting average. But, I mean, it's clear at this point they need anything at third base.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you for the most part, but I just don't think that at this point in time the Yankees really care about what they're getting at third base because as I think even though that they're not getting, like you said, they're getting no production at third base. They just do not want to deal with Alex Rodriguez and what he brings to the table, and that is drama.
They have to, though, if they want any chance of making the playoffs this year, or even to finish above 500. At this point, they've lost 6 out of the last 10 games. I believe it's their 7 games back. They're starting to fade. These injuries are catching up to them. Jeter's out again. He thinks he's going to be back this weekend, but, I mean, personally, I'm not going to believe it until he's on the field. He's already had 2 major setbacks already. He's 39 years old, which is ancient for a shortstop. Not just old, but ancient. So, it's going to be interesting to see. It's also going to be interesting to see what the Yankees do at the trading deadline. Yeah. I could be 100% wrong on this. If I'm the Yankees, I would be sellers this year. Because, I mean, they're 4th place in the division right now. They're 7 games back. Baltimore's hot. Tampa Bay's hot. Boston's been at the top all year. The only team they're better than in that division is the Blue Jays. And it would not shock me, and this is scary, it would not shock me if the Blue Jays caught and passed the Yankees by the end of the year.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. But I think the Yankees. I'm not saying they're going to make the. I'm just saying I'm not going to bet against them now until the year is over with. This might be the year that it does finally get to them and they don't make the postseason. But all we can do right now is just go on their past history until that does happen. Now over onto the.
And you're right though. The past history does say that they're going to do well, but they've had by far more injuries this year than ever. I mean, the team, top to bottom, is pretty much desolated. I think, to be quite honest, I think they've overachieved considerably, considering what the players and the talent they're putting out on the field. I mean, it's nowhere near what they projected. Their lineup has holes. As many holes. Their starting pitching is starting to wear thin. It's held up fairly well, but it's starting to hold thin. The one thing you have at the end is Mariano Rivera, and that's part of the reason they're doing as well as they have. I hate to say it, Mariano Rivera at 43 may be the MVP of this team this year, because he's the reason they're where they are. If it wasn't for him, I think they'd be below 500 in last place right now.
Yeah, maybe, but anyway. On to the just switch over to the National League. That's on we got the St. Louis and Pittsburgh races is a hot race right now. To me, the way I look at all the divisions, I think you can make an argument that the NL Central is the toughest division in all baseball, and unless you want to go back to the AL East. But right now in the NL Central. St. Louis is up by a game and a half. St. Louis has won 7 of the last 10. Pittsburgh, I think, is 5-5. So this looks to possibly be a close race. The remainder of the season, if Pittsburgh doesn't do like they usually do and choke, and like they did, just like they did last year.
Let's talk about that for a minute. There's certain differences the Pirates have this year that they didn't have last year. or even the year before. They got Russell Martin catcher. He's brought a lot of veteran leadership. That's part of the reason the Yankees are hurting. That's part of, and plus one of their catchers, I believe it's Cervelli's got a 50-game suspension for the biogenesis. But anyway, they're that's one of the reasons. Their starting pitching's a lot better. They went out and Jeff Locke's come into his own. Morton, I think he's back or about to be back. Also, Francisco Liriano has come to the National League and has made a world of difference for him. Jason Grilli has come out of nowhere to become an all-star closer, and they've done well. They faded the last 2 years, but they've shown signs of improvement each year, and I think this is going to be the year that they get over the top. I expect them to make some kind of splash at the deadline. I don't know exactly what that splash is going to be. Most people think it's going to be for a bat that can play right field, but they're going to make some kind of splash. The Cardinals, they could make a run. If I were them, I would probably make a run at some bullpen help, or maybe a starter, but probably bullpen help. Holiday's out for a little while, but they're right now the best team in baseball, and they seem to be able to do it no matter what. So even if they didn't make a big deal, they'd be okay.
I don't think they're gonna make a big deal at the trade deadline. One thing that they always usually have going for them, beside their offense, is their pitching, and Wainwright is pitching really good again this year. It seems like he's finally fully back from his Tommy John surgery. He's 14 and 3.
13-8, I thought.
He's won 13. Yeah, 13 games. So that's the most in the major leagues by one over Jordan Zimmerman. ERA is 2.44. I think it's 13-5 is his overall record. So you can make an argument right now that this guy could win his first Cy Young Award of his career. And to me, it's hard to believe that Adam Wainwright has never won a Cy Young Award. He's been runner-up once to Tim Lincecum in 2009. You probably can make an argument that he should have won it that year. He won 19 games with a 2.63 ERA, and he lost out to Tim Lincecum that year. But this is a guy who generally gets it done year after year. And so right now, I think that if he gets to 21 wins, I think you almost have to give him the Cy Young Award. Of course, you do have Clayton Kershaw, who is 9-6 with a 2.01 ERA. But more likely, it's probably going to both even out between the two, and Kershaw is going to go up a little higher than that, and I can't see him keeping that up all year long. So he still could have a lower ERA than Wainwright, but it's probably going to be pretty close, 5 to 10 points, and it's going to be between those two pitchers as far as who wins the Cy Young Award, I think. But I think Wainwright deserves to win it. Like I said, if he gets 21 wins, I think you got to give the Cy Young Award to him.
First off, I don't think Adam Wainwright's going to get to 21 wins this year. He might get to 17 or 18. I think his ERA is going to be decent. It's going to be probably in the mid to upper 2s, maybe the low 3s. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's still respectable numbers. I think he's maybe 4th for the Cy Young. My number 1 probably would be Clayton Kershaw or Matt Harvey. That could be 1A, 1B. I also think Matt Harvey could win Rookie of the Year. It could be Harvey wins Rookie of the Year and Kershaw wins the Cy Young. Number 3, and these all could fade, especially the rookies. Patrick Corbin of the D-backs is my number 3, and then number 4 is Adam Wainwright.
I think Corbin is definitely going to fade because he gets his experience. I think Wainwright could. I'm not saying he'll get 21. I think he's got a shot at getting to 20.
But another thing, I don't think his career's, whether he makes the Hall of Fame or not, it's too soon to say. But it's not going to be defined, in my opinion, by if he won a Cy Young Award. If he never wins one, I'll give you 2 names that never won a Cy Young Award. One is not in the Hall of Fame now. He could go now. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Curt Schilling. He's never won. This may surprise you. He's never won a Cy Young Award.
Yeah, I know that.
Another one that is in the Hall of Fame is Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young Award.
Yeah, well, it's going to be hard for Wainwright to be a Hall of Famer simply because he's fixed to be 32 years old, and he's only won 93 games. But having said that, I mean, I think he still will be remembered as a great pitcher for the time that he pitched. But we also have to remember that he has had some injuries.
He missed a year, of course, 2000. I believe it's 2011 with Tommy John
Yeah.
surgery. Also in 06, he was in the bullpen for the entire year. His first year in the major leagues, he was in the bullpen, so
Right.
that's part of it. Now, one thing about him, he's got 93 career wins, but he's only made 190 or 172 career starts. So he's winning about 54%, something like that, of his starts. So there's a good shot if he keeps that up, he can get 300 or very, very close. And considering he was, especially if he goes back to the bullpen, he would only need 200 and then maybe 150, 200 saves. He could be like John Smoltz or Dennis Eckersley and go in that way. There's a couple ways for him to do it at this point.
The thing is that we also have to remember, now this is kind of shifting a little bit, but still talking about St. Louis, and that is Carpenter has been pitching in AAA, and most people expect him to be back sometime before the season ends. Now, if that winds up being the case, then somebody's going to have to go to the bullpen. Now, it could possibly be Lance Lynn, like he did last year when he got lit up the second half of the season. This year so far, he's 0-1 with a 7-point-something ERA. Now, last year after the All-Star break, he was 7-3 with a somewhere in the fours ERA.
432.
432. Okay, so basically, what that's saying to me is this guy is a really great first half pitcher, but he's not. But he's terrible in the second half. Now, if this happens again when Carpenter does come back, like I said, he very well could be going back to the bullpen.
And so far in the second half, it's been one start, but he's 0-1 with a 7.20 ERA.
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah, right. So, but now he did still win last year, 18 wins, and he had and his ERA was 3.78. It was 18-11, I believe his overall record was. That's still not bad, but he missed a few starts when they finally did send him back to the bullpen. So if he had kept him as a starter, then he probably would have lost more games than 11, and his ERA probably would have been in the fours. Like it is right now, it's currently 4.13, and his record is he's won 11 games.
Believe so.
Yeah, the way it is so far. So is he going to trend and being terrible again the second half of the season? We'll have to wait and see if he does. But my bet is that I think he probably will wind up doing that.
Now, one thing about it, it was basically his first full season last year, and of course minor league seasons wrap up September 1st. Some people could say that's a reason. I don't think it is, simply because of this one start showing. Now, of course, one start doesn't make a trend. It'll be interesting to watch. It's going to be very critical what he does over the next probably 3 to 5 starts. We'll have a better idea probably in a couple weeks, maybe a month. If he does it this year, then I think it's clear, like David said, that he's a first half pitcher. Could he do better in the second half? Maybe, but we'll have to wait. That's one of those. Stay tuned. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Now, of course, the trade deadline is the 31st, but we've already hit big news as far as that goes, especially as far as I'm concerned. That being a Cub fan, Matt Garza finally did get moved to the Rangers for 3 players and then 1 player to be named later. We got one of the guys we got was Mike Olt, third baseman, outfielder. He's in AAA right now, about 237, 11 home runs. He was supposed to be one of the better players. Keith Law has him ranked the 70th best player on his list, whatever that means. That's not
70 best of MLB's top prospects.
Yeah, so
that list changes once or twice a year.
Right. So this guy is supposed to be up there as one of the better players. I personally am not crazy about him, and I think that he could be ultimately be moved for some more pieces, because Chris Bryant is going to be our future third baseman probably in the next year or two.
He also could fit into a super utility role,
Right.
like right field, maybe to give that person a day off, or your third baseman a day off, or I think there's 3 or 4 positions he plays.
Right, he
so
does.
he could be kind of a defensive. He could be. So there's room for him in the Cubs eventually, but he's going to have to start producing. 230's not going to cut it with 11 home runs. Yeah, he's going to hit probably 20 something this season, but that's in the minors. He's not. He's got a lot of seasoning to do, a lot of work, and the jury's still out. Is he going to be a 4A player? Is he? Which these numbers, that's not even a 4A player.
No, so
That's more like a AA player.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on this guy yet. But the other one we got was Grimm.
Justin Grimm.
Christian Grimm, not sold. His ERA is in the 7, so that guy, I don't think maybe never will hit the major leagues for us. But the most important player we got out of that deal, and to me, I'm pretty impressed with this kid. His name's C.J. Edwards. He's a pitcher, 21-year-old kid who got drafted right out of high school. And
48th round, I believe.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was this year or maybe a couple years before, but now the draft doesn't even have 48 rounds. It's only got 40. So that's very impressive. And he seems to be possibly the main piece of this deal. From what me and David are saying, this looks like the centerpiece. This, if anybody pans out in this deal, it's probably going to be him.
Yeah, this C.J. Edwards kid looks like to be the real deal, and I think in a couple of years when we're finally ready to compete, that he could be up in the rotation and really doing some good things for us. Now I think his ERA was like it was 2 point something, and he had a really like a 8-3 maybe it was, or some between 8 and 10 wins so far for his career. I think it was maybe a little more than that, but from what I see, this kid looks like he could be the real deal, and we could be we'll be remembering his name out of this whole trade that winds up being a like I said, really productive player for us in about a couple of years from now. But another guy that I think to me is pretty important that who just got called up about a couple days ago during the Colorado Rockies series, and it's Junior Lake, and I'm excited about this guy because this kid right now he's tearing the cover off the ball since we brought him up. I mean, he got 4 hits again tonight, including the home run. So right now he's batting .500, close to. Of course, we will know he won't keep that up. But I think this guy has a very good chance of being our starting center fielder now. I think we finally found that player that's going to be there for a long time to come. He's 23 now, about to be 24. But when we signed him when he was like 17 years old, and he was originally a shortstop. So now he's in center field. So David DeJesus comes back, he's probably gonna be going. There's a good chance he's going to be going on that bench where he belongs.
This Lake kid, I hadn't really seen him, but there's comparisons maybe to Puig. He's come up with a bang, basically. He's come up and tearing the cover off the ball. But let's see what happens in a month or two. From my understanding, Puig's starting to slow down a little bit. That's expected. Now the question is, can Puig make the adjustment? Give Lake a month or so, and teams will be adjusting to him, and then he'll have to make the adjustments right back. Baseball is a game of adjustments. Now, this kid could be the real deal. He's definitely making an outstanding first impression. I mean, like David said, when this DeJesus comes back, he's not going to the minor leagues. I don't think that's going to happen at this point. He's going to stay up for a while, and I think they'll keep him around for the rest of the year anyway and see what he can do. And I think it's going to be very interesting to watch, and we're starting to see the Cubs rebuilding start to come to fruition. Most people think the Cubs are a couple years away. I think so too. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I think that it probably is a couple of years away from being a competitive team. Ultimately, of course, we had to win a World Series because it's been 106 years
Longest drought in professional sports.
Yeah, so I don't even. Yeah, it's hard for me to even admit that. Much less talk about it like we're doing right now. But it is that is the case, and so I think if you really look at this from just a honest point of view, that I think that maybe between 3 to 5 years away from being able to be a World Series caliber team, and ultimately it's about winning every year, just like St. Louis does. St. Louis makes the playoffs every year, and they ultimately and they want to win a World Series every 3 or 4 years. It seems like. But so that's pretty much what we have for like the baseball. It's still got a whole like I said, the deadline's coming up the 31st, so we're probably still going to be seeing some more moves made. I don't know if it's going to be a big move, big splashes like the Matt Garza deal was, but it probably will be some more moves made. Of course, we also do have this Cuban pitcher that's supposed to be signing this week, and there's about 15 teams are trying to sign him. He just defected over from Cuba in the last week. He's a 26-year-old pitcher. From everything I hear, he's supposed to be the real deal. Got a fastball between 90 and 94 miles an hour. Good splitter. Good changeup, I think it is. So this is pretty much the new wave of signing these Cuban players. And my Cubs are one of the teams of the 15 that are trying to sign this kid. So it's going to be interesting to see when he signs, if it is this week, like most people are saying. And also, I don't expect him to be down in the minor leagues very long either. I think
he's a September call-up for whoever.
Yeah, it very could be. Could be a September call-up, but I think this kid is going to be. And right now, I think he's pretty much asking for outrageous price. From what I hear, it's like $13 million a year, and I don't see him getting that. I mean, I think he's gonna get $8 million a year possibly, somewhere just about like what Puig got. I think he got $7 or $8 million a year, so it's probably something like a similar deal. Maybe he gets a 4 or 5 year contract, something like that. But from this being the new wave, these Cuban players, I expect this kid to come over and make an immediate impact, because that's what all these guys are doing. Whether it's Puig, Cepeda, who won the home run derby for Oakland, who else? Aroldis Chapman, the Cincinnati Red closer, who's been pretty much dominating the last couple of years. So all these guys from Cuba, I mean, they're getting it done. So I expect no more or less from this pitcher is fixing to come over. But we do last but certainly not least, we have football that we have to talk about. That is coming up just right around the corner. It's not too far off, actually. We have the preseason games should be coming up this upcoming month in August. And of course, the season, I believe, is September 9th that it starts. But some pretty big news actually around the football league, and that is Von Miller. He just got handed down a 4-game suspension. They're kind of being a little vague about this, but it's pretty much they're saying that he violated the wellness policy. So that has you to believe that there was some kind of steroid, probably HGH, that he took, and he's of course going to appeal this. I'm sure, like Richard Sherman did last year, the defensive back for Seattle. And now Richard Sherman won his case last year when he got allegedly caught for taking some kind of HGH, and so what to see if the same thing happens with Von Miller. But if he loses this case and he does have to suspend this, have to serve this 4-game suspension, that's a big loss for Denver. That's you're talking about a guy who's gotten 30 sacks the last 2 seasons, and that's like 5th, I think, in the whole entire league as far as players getting the most sacks. A lot of people are already comparing this guy to the great Derek Thomas. I don't think that there's no way you can already make those comparisons to a Hall of Fame type player like that. But him being off of Denver, if he does have is out for those 4 games, that It's a big loss for our defense. It's not that good anyway, considering the fact they've already lost also Elvis Dumerville. So you're talking about two players, key players that will be off their defense, and that very well could wind up determining the home field advantage in the AFC. Now, but my biggest thing is this. I think I'm pretty sure the NFL has a big steroid problem too, and they know it. And so that's why the Roger Goodell, the commissioner, and the union refuses to have random HGH testing like baseball does now. They were supposed to already have this done for this upcoming season. The NFL is. They talked about it last year, but I think because they have the best image in all sports, that they are scared to have this round road testing, because they know that if they did have this done, that they would get just as many players, if not more players, test positive for steroids than baseball has done over the last 10 years.
But also, in the case of baseball, steroids is probably their biggest problem. You don't see players getting arrested every time you turn around like you do in football. You do on occasion, but it's not nearly the rate. The NFL's biggest problem this season by far is players getting arrested. There's been 30-something arrests, I believe, already this year. It's basically an average of one a team. You could have a series, if you wanted to, like 32 teams in 32 days before the season starts. You could have that on arrest. That's by far their biggest problem. It's not steroids or HGH. They've got to clean up the arrest, then they can go in and clean up steroids. I do think they need to clean up both. But I mean, when you have
but I don't think they want.
Like this is what happens.
They don't want to address the steroid problem. To me, I still say would be their number one issue, but but they have the not only the best, like I said, the best image in all sports, but they have the number one ratings in all sports. And
I don't think they want to address either problem, to be quite honest.
Well, they might not, but I'm still saying that since you already have to have these two players that well, one allegedly tested positive, and the other one has they're already saying that in Sherman, Richard Sherman, and then of course, like I said, Von Miller has got suspension. We'll have to see if he wins his case, but that's just two players. How many players in this whole league do we suspect that's probably taking HGH? I'm sure probably. I mean, there's no telling how many defensive players are taking it. So the sky is the limit of how many players that would actually get busted if this blood test really came into fruition. So I don't see it happening, and I don't think it's to me it's unfortunate, because these players that should get exposed just as much as the baseball players are getting exposed and getting caught. But beside that, the football is, I think it's going to be another good year. But it's just unfortunate that right now that is the biggest headline going on in the NFL is this thing with Von Miller.
The negative headlines though will calm down once training camps really get going. This I know it's been bad this off season, particularly with the arrest and all that. But you always have these suspensions come down like this. This happens every year. Also, you have more arrests this year, but players are always getting in trouble during the off season. I mean, this is nothing new. It's not good for the league, but a lot of this will calm down when the season starts, when training camp starts, and players don't have time to get in trouble.
Well, yeah, I agree. That stuff will calm down, but I just got a serious problem with this steroid thing, and I wish it would get addressed, but like I said, I don't think it will. Not that switching over to just briefly to in college football. This Johnny Manziel. This is what really has really turned into a big story with him. He was at the Peyton Manning camp, and he left early. He claimed that he overslept, which I don't. To me, that's pretty much an argument like you say, a dog ate my homework argument.
I've heard too that he went out and got drunk basically
Right.
in town the night before. It's as if he's. I mean, I understand he won the Heisman and he's probably the biggest thing in college football, but dude, you hadn't arrived yet. This isn't L.A. You're not in Hollywood. Stop acting like it. If you're doing this in college, guess what? When you get to the NFL, you're going to get put in your place really, really quick. It's not going to fly in the NFL like it does in college, and it might not even fly this upcoming season. It's because I'm going to tell you, teams, Manziel, are going to be gunning for you. You're not going to slip up on anybody this year like you did last year. Last year you kind of came out of nowhere. This year teams are going to be ready. You could have a very long season this year if you don't get your act together and get with it and start playing serious instead of messing around. This ain't Hollywood.
I think a lot of this has to do with immaturity, and I think that's really what it boils down to. The kid needs to grow up, and I think he's gonna be alright as far as his talent level goes. But you can't just. He's got this confidence about him that he thinks that he's untouchable, and he's just gonna have to grow up and realize that's not the case, and I mean, create and another thing was he's created a lot of drama of course also off this Twitter thing he's got going. I mean, and remember he put out a tweet saying he can't wait to leave College Station. So it's just stupid stuff like that he's putting out there through social media, and then it's just. He's going about the wrong way on both of those cases, and he needs to have somebody have a sit down conversation with him and say, look, kid, you need to stop making the wrong choices and concentrate on football once again and get ready for the season. And you got all the talent in the world. Get out there and make football your number one priority. And now, and forget about all this other nonsense that you're doing off the field and creating all this drama. Also, one other quick thing I forgot. Actually, I don't know how I did, but in NFL is that some other, to me, also big news, but at the same time, really good news. I'm glad to hear it. Is RG3 was cleared to practice by the doctors. And so this is just another amazing story. I think it's been about 6 months since he tore 3 muscles in his knee, and he's already ready to go to start practicing. And I fully expect him to start week 1. And so him and Adrian Peterson are just making this torn ACL just look like it's nothing. These guys are just beasts. I mean, it's just unbelievable how modern technology and just the training of these two great athletes can you combine both those together, and this ACL injury once was it seemed like it was a career-ending injury 10, 15 years ago. Now it's just like it's nothing, and it just and so it makes it even look worse to me as far as Derrick Rose goes, being out 12 months with his torn ACL. And everybody's just ripping him. You could say that it's justified or it's not justified. But Adrian Peterson and RG3 are really set the bar for this injury.
I think Derrick Rose is just being a wimp at this point. I don't know what's gotten into him. If he's scared he's not going to make any more money. I mean, he's making plenty of money. I'd like to have a tenth of what he's making. But he's been a wimp. He's quit on his teammates. To me, the Bulls could have made it to the NBA Finals last year had they had Derrick Rose. But I think that team overachieved. Now, they could be better off for it in the long run, but we'll see. Rose could hurt him this year coming back. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, Now, the Redskins, of course, are said they're being extra cautious with RG3, and they're going to take all the take go very slow about the whole thing. But like I said, this guy is I think he's ready to go, and we've talked about it before. He's going to change his game a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that he will, and he's going to be better. He's going to be better off for it in the long run, of actually getting hurt, because it's just going to make him smarter, and in a stronger player. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up as far as I know, and we will be seeing you back once again next week, and I cannot wait to be back again. I'm David once again.
And I'm Justin, and I've got a little surprise right here. This is my feelings on Johnny Manziel. Sorry, we're experiencing technical difficulties. We don't own this, but thank you, whoever put this on YouTube. Please don't sue us.
All right, that's pretty good. We're out. We'll see you next week.
Hang on.
Hmm.